This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Les habla el cero miedo de la lucha libre, Pentagon Junior, para mandar un saludo a todos mis amigos de este podcast. Y ya saben, puro cero miedo.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. But if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 207. My name is Nick Howell.
And spinning in circles, trying not to turn my back on anyone I fear or don't respect, I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show, Nick. How are you feeling today, sir? Are you ready to do this?
This is going to be a long show. There's a lot that went down this week.
There's a lot that went down this week. There we had AEW was exciting. NXT had two cage matches. Smackdown was, well, it went home to Elimination Chamber. But we also got to make our Elimination Chamber picks because that's tomorrow. Good. It's already Elimination Chamber. Good Lord.
The forgotten show.
Oh, my.
Thanks, Super Showdown.
Looking at how the lineup looks for that show, it may be forgotten the day after, but we still got to talk about it, Nick.
Yeah.
I am feeling grossly incandescent today and ready to do this show. Let's do a little housekeeping. Let's let everyone know how they can interact with the show, and then let's get into talking about all these graps.
Yes, guys, as always, come over and join us on Facebook. Just search for Busted Wide Open, like our page, and send us a join request to get into the group. It is the hub of our operation where everything goes down. You'll find the phenomenal ones, our lovely patrons, as well as all of our other fans and listeners hanging out in there, posting fun memes, good news stories, all kinds of stuff, except for ringside news. That's banned. We don't do that. Bad. You know who you are. You can also find us on, you'll find a link in there to Discord, our Discord server, which is where all the live chats happen all throughout the week for every show, from Raw and Smackdown and NXT over to AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, and dedicated chat channels for all of the pay-per-views, such as Elimination Chamber, happening tomorrow night. So make sure you are in our Discord, and if you're a patron, make sure you go back to Patreon and authenticate with your Discord login, because you get some special perks in our Discord if you do that. You can also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. We stream live every episode right here on YouTube at youtube.com/BustedWideOpen every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we also do our patron mailbag series, which is specifically for our patron questions that come in. Everybody can listen, but you have to be a patron to be able to send us in questions every single week. To do that, patreon.com/BWO. So that is the place where we like to keep the show ad-free as much as possible, and that's the best way to support the show. So people ask all the time, should we buy merch? Should we send you money? Should we do that? Patreon.com/BWO is the place where we can provide you some exclusive perks, and you can contribute to the show and keep the ball rolling here on this machine. Thank you to all of our patrons. Welcome to all of the new ones that have joined up in the last month or two. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the new bonus episode, and the new guys enjoy that entire back catalog of more than a dozen or so bonus episodes that you've got and now got at your disposal.
Will we be getting your booking anytime soon, Nick?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Excellent.
Patience.
I just want to get it over with at this point.
I know you do, and part of this
like
is me just kind of dragging you out. I know everybody's waiting for it. Some things actually came to be that I had written last fall, and I had to go back and sort of start over with at least the two of the main picture storylines in there. So New stuff coming. It's all fresh. We got it. I'm shooting for next week. No promises, but we're really close. Ian, I don't really want to waste any more time. We've got to head over and talk about the big news.
Well, we have our newest inductee into the Hall of Fame. It had been rumored this was the case. There was a few rumors about who was going into the Hall of Fame, but this was finally confirmed. JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, however you'd like to call him, he will be going into the Hall of Fame this year. I'd like to say that this was universally praised, but it was not. Obviously, JBL is somewhat of a controversial figure, as he is, on the one hand, a guy who was pretty much done it all in WWE, from starting off as in the new Blackjacks and having a I guess he started off as Justin Hawk Bradshaw, was on his own.
Yeah.
But then he joined up, was the new Blackjacks with Barry Windham, and went on and did pretty much everything. You had him end up being one of the Acolytes, APA, and then doing
one of my favorite entrance songs ever, or themes, I should say.
The APA.
Yeah. Perp. Oh, I just love the whole thing.
But then ended up, always pounding ass, the APA.
That's not what it meant.
That's what the shirt said, though, Nick.
Okay.
But obviously, ultimately, then culminating in a high-level, successful career in the 2000s, in the Ruthless Aggression era, when there was just, nobody else, and did kind of a Texas businessman knockoff, which is not far from the truth. The guy is a multi-millionaire on his own, just from his business investments in real life. The downside of JBL, Nick, is he is a notorious bully. You can ask Mauro Ranallo, you can ask Justin Roberts, you can ask pretty much almost anybody. There's a lot of people that really just don't like JBL, and for good reason. He's notorious ribber backstage, and lots of stories about his antics. What do you think about JBL going to the Hall of Fame? Appropriate, or, hey, be a star, way to celebrate a bully?
Yeah, I think we're past that with the WWE Hall of Fame, though. If we look at the people that are in there, I look at this as how impactful and what a big role that they had to play in the evolution of World Wrestling Entertainment. And if you look at Farouk and Bradshaw, APA, and if you look at the JBL Tycoon character in Ruthless Aggression era, the guy that sort of made John Cena, if you look at it that way, that's the way I look at it. It's the one that John Cena went over that put him where he's at. And really just that's where his career kind of launched. So I understand all of the backstage stuff, but I don't think people are make or break Hall of Famers on backstage stuff. I think it's what they do in front of the camera, how they act in public, things like that. Is there an element of the locker room and stuff that goes on backstage? Sure. It happens in every sport, fortunately or unfortunately. However, whatever your perspective is on it. As a former athlete, I enjoyed a good ribbing, So
what you're saying is that he should be in there. He just probably won't be inducted by the Blue Meanie. Is kind of what you're saying.
That's probably a fair assessment. Yes.
Okay. Just gotcha.
Right.
No, and here's the thing. I tend to agree. I think that his work in wrestling is superlative. And if you're going to put a scumbag like the Ultimate Warrior in there, I think that JBL is totally valid to go in, because the dude definitely had a career, was a huge part of a lot of history on WWE. So, yeah. All right. JBL's in the Hall of Fame.
Ric Flair's a two-timer, one of the most
he should be.
Notorious playboys of all time.
Well, I'm not going to disqualify him because he likes to go have drinks at bars. But yeah, I know what you're saying. False equivalence. Yeah. But
it's a bit of hypocrisy to say that because of his backstage antics he can't get in, but the line of other people that have already been put in.
Only the pure of heart can get into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Let's go ahead and shut down the Hall of Fame, guys. We're done. We don't need it anymore. We can't do it anymore.
Another news, Scott Steiner. This is actually fresh off the press. Last night, Scott Steiner collapsed at some Impact tapings backstage. What's now being called a cardiac episode. And is now in the hospital. He's fine. He's stable, but he's undergoing a heart procedure right now in Atlanta. So he's okay, but still keep your fingers crossed for him. That ticker cannot be doing well after what he's obviously done to it over the years. So yeah, the years and years of cocaine and steroids spelt disaster for him at the Impact taping last night.
Yeah.
My
only question is he in his hospital room? Is he hanging out in the Steiner recliner?
Nick Howell, everybody, Nick Howell. So anyway, yeah, get well soon, Scott Steiner. We're going to move on very quickly because there's a lot we need to discuss in All Elite Wrestling.
Speaking of legends, Cody came out to cut a promo and started whining a little bit about Jake, I spoiled it already. MJF, if you would just come out and face me like a man.
Come on, look me in the eye and tell me you beat me fair and square.
Right, because you know you didn't. We all know you didn't. We all know you used the ring, blah, blah, blah. And out comes...
Hold our breath for the MJF music. And what do we get instead, Nick?
Jake the Snake Roberts?
The goddamn Snake? What? What is Jake the Snake doing in the AEW zone?
Is there some magical portal that in the backstage at AEW that legends just come out and they just walk down the ramp? What?
Yeah.
Last we heard, he was doing a good job recovering from a lot of stuff that he had going on over the last year or so. Now he's out on AEW cutting heel promos against Cody.
Great heel promos. Comes out, part of his head shaved, so it's got a kind of cool edgy look going on. Gets in the ring, does this thing where he runs his hands along the ring ropes and smells his hands, and he goes with the turnbuckle and smells the turnbuckle.
That was
and
nice.
You're like, oh,
nice touch.
I got the little chills. I'm like, oh, Jake, he's missed this, hasn't he? Yep. He's missed this. And then he calls Cody a bitch. He says, I can't sit in the back while you're out here crying like a little bitch. I thought you were better than that. But you know what? Hail Caesar. But I didn't come here to praise you. I came here to slay you, which I also thought was a nice touch. He didn't say bury you, which is the original quote. And that means something else in wrestling. So he nailed this promo. He suggested that he said I've got a client. The client's going to come here. It's going to be the dark side. It's going to take roots in AEW, and then we will rise like a phoenix. Yeah, man. I don't know who that is or what that is. We have some guesses. Could it be Lance Archer? Could it be Brody Lee? Or Brody Lee? Luke Harper? Maybe.
Maybe.
Could be both of them. I don't know. Maybe a Jake the Snake stable. I would not be mad at that either. But this promo was beautiful. Jake, he not only allowed himself that moment of saying, I've waited a long time to get back in. I deserve this. I did the work, and the audience got to applaud him. But then he got to just diss Cody and do that's one of the coldest walkaways I've ever seen, Nick. He finished strong. He said, I'm not here. I'm not interested in taking the whole AEW pie. I just want your share, Cody. And I'm gonna leave, oh Caesar, with some words of wisdom someone once told me. Never turn your back on someone that you don't respect or you fear. And while he's saying it, he starts walking away, and just the second he's done with that, he throws the mic over his shoulder. Cody catches it perfectly. The perfect toss catch, just disrespect. It's cold. It was cold as ice. The Snake is back, Nick.
Oh my God.
You have no idea how much I was marking out over this. My boy was back and showed he has not lost a step. The guy could barely speak because he's fried his vocal cords over the years, but it worked, Nick.
Yep.
Oh,
it totally
worked.
I could totally get behind a Jake the Snake. If we look at Tully Blanchard and Sean Spears, do that same formula with Jake the Snake and Lance Archer. You've got my attention. 100%.
Yeah. He called out Arn Anderson at one point. He even kind of suggested, back in the day, I used to have the Snake in the corner, because once you think about the Snake, I've got you in the palm of my hands. You fear that Snake, and that's what gets you. And then now he's suggesting he's going to be in the corner of whoever he's bringing out. So he's become
the Snake.
The Snake. I just everything about this worked. It worked for his character. It worked for the storyline. It made Cody interesting because now you're wondering who's going to come out and face Cody. It makes you excited for whoever he's going to bring out, and he's basically just built up whoever he's bringing out without even saying anything about him, really.
Yep, put him on the moon already.
And he's got all of our heads going now. We're going, okay, who could this be? What's going to happen? What's this feud going to be like? What's Jake going to do? What's his involvement? Fantastic. I think the only thing that I'm just waiting to see what happens now. The only question I have is, how much will Jake be involved? And is this healthy for him? Will he be able to stay healthy doing this kind of stuff, being in this atmosphere? Like, should we be worried about him at this point, or just like cool, just excited?
It's fine. If Arn's out there doing it, he can do it. But he has had more health stuff than Arn.
I was going to say.
If he's just out there as a mouthpiece, fine. If he starts taking bumps, I'll get a little concerned.
Yeah. I don't want to see Jake taking any bumps.
No.
I mean, maybe punch somebody, but.
So let's look at the opposing corners of this ring. We now kind of see things starting to shake up or shape up, I should say, around the AEW Championship, which we'll talk about later. But now we've got Cody, and he's headed into his next thing. Are we headed into Cody versus Lance Archer?
I'd be fine with that.
So with Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake Roberts in opposing corners?
I would be fine with that. I'd be fine with either one of these guys coming in there. Or if it's Matt Hardy. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of people that we feel like are coming to AEW right now. They've said that they've hinted that they want to stagger out the surprise appearances. They don't want to do it all in 1 week. Yeah. Even though they might have to, just because they're running up against time constraints. But yeah, I could see this being a staggered thing. The haircut leads me to think Lance Archer, but that could have just been a coincidence. We don't know. I'm happy with any of those options, frankly. Any of those options with Jake on the stick? Yeah, done. Cool.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Is it too many reveals? Too much? Are we getting too much of that though? That's the last thing I wanted to ask. You said we were going to stagger them out, but is it?
We have to get the debuts of potentially Matt Hardy, Lance Archer, and Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper. Oh no, I have too much cake.
Sure.
No. Please, AEW, don't give me all these wonderful things.
Does the oversaturation hurt all three though? Cumulatively. I guess is what
that's a good question. I think it depends on how they debut them, as long as they debut in different interesting ways.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
As long as it's not like a bunch of guys coming out, and now Matt Hardy, and now Lance Archer, and bring them out differently. You know what I mean? Like, if they have them all be different in how they're presented and how they're brought out, then yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
Come on, bring it on. We also had a speech from our new champion, John Moxley. Came out and wanted to say thanks to everybody for helping us win this belt, because this belt was our belt now. Oh, yes. Yeah, so facey. He's such a face. And he basically said, look, I know the fight's not over at Inner Circle. They scratched and clawed to keep me from getting it. They're not going to give up now. But he said, you know what? If you want to take this from my hands, I dare you to try.
Yeah.
Well,
I will die before I let you take this out of my hands. And he's like the one person that I believe when he says that.
Yeah. Well, but I also believe Chris Jericho when he says, I'm going to turn the Inner Circle into a hit squad, and we're going to come for you and everybody else in AEW, which is what Chris Jericho came out at the top of the ring to say.
Yep.
Once everyone was done singing his damn song. Jericho even put his
that sounded a little bitter.
Future, well, it's I love it. Frankly.
Oh, I do too.
But let the man talk. No, this is one of my most entertaining things in wrestling is people just unable, like they can't even they have to cut that song off right before the beginning of that, like the end of that chorus, the end line.
Yeah.
Just so that like people can be done and Jericho can start talking. Anyway, we digress. Jericho said he would take 2 months off if after their match tonight, he had a match, him and Sammy Guevara versus Moxley and Darby Allin. If after that match, Moxley could walk out on his own 2 feet, Jericho would take 2 months off, 60 days off, which seemed believable because we all know Jericho's about to go on tour with Fozzy. So it seemed like that was going to be the stipulation and there was going to be a big Mox victory, but that was not the case. Moxley got jumped as he was coming to the ring by the Inner Circle, got beaten up over in the concession area. And then it was Darby Allin 5-on-1 technically 2-on-1 in the ring, but then 3 dudes outside. Darby Allin 5-on-1, Nick. And we basically got Darby Allin fighting for his life.
He even hot tagged himself.
That
that might be the whole moment of the match right there.
himself.
Like he runs over to his corner, tags himself, and runs back over and just starts wearing on everybody. That whole bit right there, I lost my shit. That was the one moment where
he hot tagged and hulked up and had like a fire baby face comeback all on his own.
Yep.
Coffin dropped from the top to the outside on the entire inner circle. But it wasn't unbelievable. The way that they worked this, it seemed like he was fighting for his life and gritting it out and just, was, as he says on his tattoo, relentless. So I didn't think that it made the inner circle look like too much of goons because they did overwhelm him in the end and he did go down. But yeah, at the one point, and this is the spot that scared the crap out of me, it's the one that put him down. He went for a suicide dive to the outside, and once again, a suicide dive was almost death because Chris Jericho did a Judas effect as he was coming through the ropes. As Darby was coming through the ropes, Chris Judas affects him, and Darby hits the ground like a sack of potatoes head first. And you watch that in slow motion. That is just gnarly from every angle, between Chris actually connecting with that thing to Darby's head just going splat on the ground. And the reports are that he's got a minor concussion after that. I don't know how kayfabe that is, but I would freaking believe it.
I don't know how you wouldn't have one after getting rocked in the head like that and then hitting the ground. Just wow. Yeah. But yeah, kudos to Darby Allin. After this, though, after they get the pin, here comes a stumbling, fumbling Moxley down the ramp, only to be completely assaulted and brutalized by the entire inner circle to the point where he's taken back up to the top, powerbombed off the stage, down through 2 tables.
Yeah.
Much like a little throwback to the
well, a little Cerberus action there, huh?
Little shield going on.
Shieldish.
And then instead of doing fist bumps, they all did fingers. And I was just like, I see what's going on here. That was really clever, that whole segment right there. That entire way to close out the show, that last 20 minutes. Mwah!
Very entertaining. Very
Firing
entertaining.
On all
very
cylinders.
Fun. Get Darby over, still make the inner circle look strong, and protect Moxley. And also, it's a bit of a surprise. Because I genuinely thought, all right, Jericho's going to be gone for 2 months. I'd accepted it. I was fine with it. But no, he isn't. He's actually scheduled his tour, so he has every single Wednesday off.
Yeah, he's come out and said, I'm not going to miss any wrestling commitments for AEW because of the tour. I'm scheduled around it.
And he's been doing that for years with Fozzy. I remember back in the day.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Worked us all.
Hey, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. This angle was great, so loved all of this. We also had Jake Hager versus QT Marshall, and some more inner circle violence after this match broke down, as you would expect. Bunch of inner circle guys came out. The Elite came out. Matt Jackson, not Nick. Nick is currently at home. His wife is expecting their 3rd child, so he was not at the tapings. But you had the big rumble afterwards, the Elite versus, Dustin Runnels was out there and everything else, Dustin Rhodes. And the funny thing was at the end, Hangman Page, the only person who isn't there, starts coming out to save everybody, but doesn't come running out, doesn't run out for the save, just comes sauntering out slowly with his beer, walks down to the ring. Like Jake Hager is looking at him like, I'm going to kick your butt. And he's like, it's cool, man. Hold on for a second. Very calmly puts his beer over on the turnbuckle and then jumps in and kicks everyone's ass and then goes back for his beer. Matt Jackson didn't like this, Nick, which is a continuation of the story. Are we building towards a singles feud with Matt Jackson and Hangman Page? Is that what you saw here?
No, I'm thinking more Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, mainly because of what we saw after Revolution. After the match at Revolution, we saw Hangman get out of the ring. And
they teased
start
doing
to
the
set up like
him.
he was going to do the buckshot on Kenny, and then he went, "Oh, hey," and then he opened the ropes for him. There's shades of all kinds of stuff going on here.
But the whole middle of that match was Matt Jackson just really being irritated by Hangman. Like that seems to be a much more festering feud right now.
I feel like, again, it's what I said leading up to Revolution. I feel like that Kenny Omega is going to be put in the position where he has to choose between the Bucks and Hangman, and I think that's going to break up the tag team because Kenny's going to choose the Bucks. And it's going to lead to them having that feud. Yeah. And I'm still in that position. Right now, it's funny. we joked a lot about Hangman Page at the very beginning of AEW that he was getting shot to the moon. He was the big first one to go for the title, all of that kind of stuff, right? Coming out of All Out and leading into the Dynamite show starting in October. We were just saying Hangman reigns, all that stuff. It feels a little bit more like Stone Cold Page right now because he's over as hell with the crowd. He's not really a face. He's not really a heel. And he's kind of just pissed off at everybody.
Yeah.
And doing his own thing.
Doesn't have the same level of aggression. I have a hard time comparing anyone to Stone Cold because Stone Cold is so unique. But I know what you're saying. The
nuance of it is very familiar in that.
Sure.
Those two. And that's where is that the direction they're taking, Paige? Because that could make for some interesting television and fights as well. Well,
and one wonders if they were trying to go for a heel turn for him in the first place, and that kind of got turned around by the fact that everyone's just loving his gimmick so much right now, and maybe they're trying to find some other nuance to it. But whatever it is, it's interesting, and I'm certainly engaged to see where they're going from now on. I've also thought it was curious that QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes have now turned into a tag team. They're known as the Natural Nightmares. So apparently going forward, they're going to be a tag team managed by Brandy Rhodes. All right. But the thing is that in AEW, they have a really interesting way of dealing with tag teams where you've got the tag teams that are just straight up tag teams, but you can also have singles wrestlers kind of dip in and out of it. It's almost like everyone wants to have two careers. And if you can play first and second base, then cool. You know what I mean? And I dig that way of presenting it where you've got the tag teams where they're specifically tag teams. But then sometimes you'll have people dip out of those tag teams in a singles action, which is why I thought, Matt Jackson might dip out of the Young Bucks, especially with Nick being sidelined, and have like a one-on-one feud with Hangman or whoever. So, I'm not
I don't
mad
know
at
that
all.
would be particularly interesting.
I think you would be shocked, Nick. I think that would be actually
I would hope to be pleasantly surprised, but I would be skeptical of it. Yep.
Well, you can be skeptically optimistic. So I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Pac had a match with Chucky T. Speaking of people from tag teams working singles, Chucky T had his first singles match in AEW, and he got some pretty good offense in on Pac. He actually got to show off a lot of his moves, and he also got to get dissed by JR, who basically suggested that he was out of shape. Which Chucky's got a little bit of the dad bod going on, but damn,
Don't we
JR.
all?
But damn, JR.
Yeah.
Damn. That's cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
We don't need to reiterate Nick's distaste of JR's current whatever anymore.
Critiquing of wrestlers.
Yeah,
I mean, the problem is he's not wrong.
Ignorance.
But maybe do
your job and put people over or tell their story and not act so ignorant about who they are or what they're trying to accomplish in the ring and all. That's my hang up with it. It's not his delivery. It's not any of that. It's just, it feels like, remember when he did New Japan?
Oh, don't.
And it was miserable because he had no idea who anybody were. Couldn't pronounce their names. Didn't know their gimmicks. Didn't know their histories. None of that. It feels like we're kind of back there again. And it's been 6 months, dude. You should know who these people are.
I feel like he cares more here. He's trying harder, and I think he's been getting better on some of these shows. But there's things like this where I'm like, dude, JR, if you're going to critique him and not put him over, save it for the back. And I think he was trying to be constructive criticism where he was saying he's got a good frame. If he put a little more strength on that, he could go a long way. Dude, don't stop with the passive-aggressive stuff, man. Don't be dissing Chris Statlander's gimmick, although it needed to be, I agree with him on both these points.
But it doesn't need to be said on television to the greater filthy casual audience. We know that stuff as smarks, but you don't have to broadcast that to the world.
Dude, I don't know. Is there a filthy casual audience that watches AEW? Or it's a pretty smarky crowd, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty smarky. And there's no way that Orange Cassidy's that over with a crowd that's just there to make their kids happy.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there. But after the match is what was interesting. Pac guts it out and beats Chucky T after eating an awful waffle, which, nice job, Pac. And then afterwards, that's where the interesting stuff happened because apparently Pac has joined up with a crew of dudes. He's joined up with the Lucha Brothers. They came out and beat up Orange Cassidy, Trent, and continue to beat up Chucky T. Two-time PWG champ, Chucky T, by the way.
Yes, indeed.
He's
the one that Keith Lee beat.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. And he beat Ricochet for it.
Yep.
But anyway, so it looks like we've got a new trios group here. They're called, Death Triangle? And
Triángulo de la Muerta. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so they finally found something for the Lucha Brothers to do. Is this the right thing for them to do? Join up with Pac and be a 3-person team?
After the 2019, listen, I know what I'm about to say might be a little controversial.
Here we go.
After the 2019 that they had, Wrestling Observer News awarded them the Tag Team of the Year, Lucha Brothers. After the 2019 that they had both in Mexico and in the U.S., it's a no-brainer that they are one of the best, if not the best, tag team in the world. However, I enjoy. Maybe I'm just holding on at my breast to Lucha Underground a little bit too much, and I enjoy them as single stars more than I enjoy them together as a tag team.
Right.
And I see so much potential in the two of them, having Kenny Omega and Pentagon have a feud, having Phoenix and, I don't know, like a Darby Allin have a crazy high flyer feud. There's so much potential there, but I feel like they're getting squandered because they're locked into this tag team bubble as the Lucha Brothers. And it's hard for me to say that because of the year they just had. So I'm in this weird conundrum where it's what I want, and I think it would be amazing, and I think everybody would love it, but I also recognize and appreciate what they are as a tag team. So I don't know, man. I'm so torn with these two guys right now because they have all the potential in the world. And you're going to make them goons behind Pac?
I hope it's not goons. I hope it's 3 guys who get now they're getting elevated because Pac has been so, front and center for so much of this, and they haven't. They've really been kind of on the sidelines, like they don't know what to do with them. They almost had something going with Christopher Daniels. They almost had this. They almost had something with the Young Bucks. Maybe this will give them some momentum. Maybe this will give them, oh God, I use that word. Maybe this will give them some sort of sense of direction. Right.
Do you see trios titles showing up at any point? That question was asked throughout the week this week.
Oh, dude, as soon as everyone started realizing, my God, we have nothing but like 3-person teams in AEW. I mean, I would almost say, here's the thing. Do you have a tag title and a trios title? Because that seems like overkill.
Yeah, it seems like a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, they have it in New Japan, but look how much the trios title is used. It's
not at all.
It's just like a nothing. The people don't even bring those titles out to the ring ever. I think the last time I saw him was Shingo brought it out when he was fighting for the Never Belt. Or when he won the Never Belt, he brought it out so he could show that he was Shingo 2 belts too. But most of the time, people don't even recognize that those exist. So could they have a trios? Yeah. I don't know if they need it, though.
No, I'd rather see it be a Freebird thing.
Have a whole bunch of Freebird teams.
Or you've got Pac that can go after the ring at some point, and you can have the Lucha Brothers go after the tag championships. Sure.
Or Pac and Phoenix can be a team, and Pentagon can go off, or whatever. Mix and match.
One of our biggest complaints over the course of doing this show was the lack of factions or well-built factions. AEW's knocking that out of the park. We're getting a little bit of a overdose of factions in AEW.
Factions. You've got the Elite / the Nightmare Collective. You've got Dark Order. You've got the Inner Circle. Hangman's not Hangman. Pac has now got his little 3 guys there, like a bunch of 3-man factions too. Best friend, freshly squeezed best friends, they're all over the place. If it coalesces into something more like New Japan, where it's just a whole bunch of huge factions, that would be fine too. But I kind of like having
like 4 or 5 like big major factions that had all these little subgroups in them. Yeah,
but then you've also got like a bunch of guys who've got managers. You've got Cody who's got Arn. You've got MJF who's got Wardlow, and you've got now apparently whoever's coming out with Jake the Snake. So yeah,
it's
love
Lance.
Speaking of Dark Order, they had a match with SCU, and it was SCU and Colt Cabana versus the Dark Order.
How fun is Colt Cabana to watch? For those of you that haven't seen a lot of Colt Cabana, you got to see him in this match. I would love to hear what everybody thought.
Here's the problem, though. Yes, he looked athletic. Yes, he was a lot of fun. Did his kind of fun-loving, goofy style make Dark Order look bad? Because they need to be taken seriously, especially with the Exalted One supposedly could come out at any time. They keep teasing him coming out, or her. Dang. They were just starting to look like they could beat people again. And then they get beat here. So I don't know. Like they're still teetering on that edge of being kind of a loser team.
You're talking about Dark Order?
Yeah.
No, I think that's all for purpose.
I hope so.
Have them lose a few things and look on their last legs, and then the Exalted One shows up, and they're going to go on this undefeated streak of just terror I really hope that's the
I
way
hope that's
that
the
they do it.
case.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. I'm going to throw, we got to keep moving here, but I'm going to throw one more name in the hat for the Exalted One. I found out that somebody did not re-sign with Impact Wrestling and is now a free agent and would actually be freaking perfect for that part. Father James Mitchell did not re-sign with Impact. Matt, so when the video that Matt Hardy posted where the Young Bucks came to his compound and he acted like he'd been ready for them, that doesn't seem like the introduction of a guy who's going to be leading one of your heel factions. Like,
Agreed, but that's outside of
leading it the whole
kayfabe.
time.
The whole
Sure.
being the elite thing is outside of kayfabe.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But my point is that maybe it's all a swerve. Yes, they posted a thing last night on Twitter. It was like a whole bunch of rambling sentences, but the first letter of all the sentences spelt Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
It was about the Dark Order.
I'm getting worked so hard.
Perhaps we're all being swerved, and Matt Hardy is there to actually, be a force for good, and someone else is leading the Dark Order. And who better than Father James Mitchell? How great would he be as the leader of the Dark Order?
What are you gonna have Matt Hardy do? He's got the blonde streak. The tease is out again. He's doing all the crazy talk. Like he's broken again. He's dragging across the lawn like he's Jesus. Like he's doing all the shit again, and I'm mad about it. I'm salivating that we're gonna get broken Matt Hardy back in AEW.
Or even if it isn't broken, even if he evolves it into something else. Like, he's a creative guy. He's reinvented. He's like the Madonna of wrestling. He's reinvented himself so many damn times. And not like Chris Jericho, where he puts on a different coat or like shaves his head or whatever, gets a different haircut. Matt fully reinvents himself. So I'm very curious to see what he's got planned next. And I'm not going to say that it's definitively the leader of Dark Order, because maybe, but to me, it's starting to get a little too obvious. And now, if it's Matt Hardy, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, we kind of knew that. Right?
There was also something put out this week that he had other commitments that he was tied to, and it was very loose and vague. And I don't know if that was a work, if that was just like an excuse that they wanted to push it another week and all that. So, listen, we're talking about SCU and Dark Order. It is what it is. I don't think that loss there is to do anything else other than to make the appearance and the motivation of whoever the Exalted One ends up being bigger when they still go on this big winning streak because he's there.
He's not going to be happy about this.
Yeah, right.
As Evil Uno was screaming after the match. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you on that, but it's still like they've got to be a little careful with that, so that, the Exalted One isn't coming into pardon the pun.
Go. It's been 2 months.
You don't want to bring the Exalted One into, pardon the pun, a broken team. Oh. So that's all I'm saying. Heyo. A couple more things. Big Swole had a match with Leva Bates. It was essentially a squash. So I guess they're trying to build up Swole a little bit.
Good.
Which fine. You need more people that we recognize, that we get behind. MJF had a little promo in a dark tunnel. He said he is a winner, and he's looking for coming for Moxley. So curious to see if he starts going for Mox, because I feel like Moxley would eat him alive. I guess Wardlow is the one thing standing in his way, but we'll see what they have planned with that. I could see more than one person.
That was actually the whole reason I picked Moxley to win the title, because I thought MJF was going to get his shot. And they needed to put it on Mox for that to happen.
I wouldn't mind them having more than one person going for Moxley at once, because that makes a lot more sense than just only one person going for the title at one time. It's more exciting to have multiple people kind of like jumping in. It's a little more realistic. Everybody should want that title, right? And then finally, Shawn Spears is on the lookout for a tag team partner. I'm curious where they're going with that story, but I am also going to throw my hat in and say that his tag partner should be Simon Miller. Why? That's why. Because it's Simon Miller.
Because stuff just happens?
Because I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, attaboy. Well, that's it for All Elite Wrestling, guys. Let's head over and talk about what went down on the other show on Wednesday night, NXT.
Cage matches all over the place. God, I wish I liked cage matches. So we had Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai in a cage to open the show. And it was a cage match, Nick. It was a cage match. I thought we were blowing off this feud. Apparently, we were blowing it off again. We had a cage match to try to keep Dakota Kai's newest buddy, Raquel Gonzalez, outside of the ring and outside of these two spheres of orbits or whatever. It didn't work though. Raquel still got involved, kept Tegan from getting out of the ring, ultimately trapped her behind the door so Dakota Kai could sneak out the door, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I thought this was as well worked as you could have of a cage match in the modern era, and a creative finish. But yeah, at the same time, like cage matches kind of leave me cold these days. And
these two ladies are fantastic. Just when you think you've seen enough of them and you'd be bored with them, they put on yet another good match. Let's forget the cage was there.
Yes,
it was fine.
They beat the crap out of each other.
They beat the absolute holy hell out of each other. And it was a lot of fun to watch, and I took that away from it. The fact that it's still going on, I'm a little concerned about, like, what's next?
So I think
where does it go from here?
Yeah.
I don't know. It still feels like there's unfinished business there, even after this match.
Does it? I really hope not.
I mean, I could watch these two fight forever. They're fantastic. Of course, they know each other really well. They've both been in the Performance Center for years at this point and have spent a lot of time together and have amazing chemistry and can put on amazing matches. Does it need to be in a cage? No. Does we need stipulations? Sure. Do we need to finish this at some point and move on so Tegan can have some other story with someone else so that Kai can come back in and screw her over with that stuff? Yeah, we need to expand this a little bit at some point because this is going to get a little bit – it's already getting a little bit watered down.
But I think that if this is the end of the feud, it's the right time.
I hope so.
This was a very much like – this felt like a big moment, you know, and they had some big moments in this. I got to say, 2 bum knees – and you're doing a crossbody from the top of the cage, I was terrified. I was like, oh God, what are you doing? I was terrified. These women put in work. I don't want to demean the work they put in on this match because they put in some work. I just am biased about modern cage matches.
I'm more so that way with the second one than the first one.
Yeah, well, on the second one, okay. Let's get to that in like 2 seconds. I think we'll just put a capstone on this and say it was a very well worked match. With the right finish, and hopefully that's the end of their feud.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the next cage match. Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong in a cage to end the show. And they had a fine match, I guess. It wasn't anywhere near what either of them can do.
No.
And ultimately, of course, Undisputed Era comes out because Roderick's getting beat up. And they try to get involved. Adam Cole ends up getting in the cage. And Velveteen Dream, for some reason, tosses Roddy out the door, handcuffs the door closed, and then he's got Adam Cole all to himself and starts beating the crap out of Adam Cole. Which, you know, in theory, I think is interesting booking. But we don't know what his beef with Adam Cole is, per se. I thought he had more beef with Roderick, but now he's showing he's got more beef with Adam Cole. He's throwing Roderick out and trying to keep the Undisputed Era out so he can beat up Adam Cole, but yet they're back inside because they climb over the top almost immediately. And yeah, and then he ends up grabbing the title, and Velveteen ends up grabbing the title and walking off with it at the end of the whole thing. It seemed convoluted to get to that finish. And yes, I understand that they wanted to keep it separate from the first cage match, but they booked themselves into this corner, Nick. Like you did it to yourselves.
Yeah. And it feels like they're trying to get Dream into the NXT title picture.
Well, he's there. He was already kind of being thought that way. There's really no one else going for Adam Cole right now, but it did seem a little shoehorned.
Yeah.
And once again, you know, Roderick Strong was kind of he was just, you know, there on the side. He was there for a purpose and nothing else. And he didn't look good in all of this either, I don't think, at the end of the day.
Who, Roderick?
So it was yeah.
No.
It was the whole thing was a little underwhelming, I thought.
Yeah, it was an excuse to get Dream and Adam Cole in a cage to beat the shit out of him and give him a little bit of a showcase there, and that he could compete with Adam Cole. And I was like, wait, no, what
was this the way to get to that,
Roderick's pissed. He's trying to get vengeance on Dream for all the shit with Marino. Like, what are you guys doing? What does this have to do with Adam Cole?
I like Marina coming out and sliding the kendo stick into the ring. Like, sure. I liked her finally getting involved in this and showing that, yeah, she's kind of pissed at Dream too. Like, all right, good. But that's the thing, is this has all been ever since Dream has come back. The feud with Roderick was convoluted, where you want to cheer him and like, yeah, Roderick's a bad guy, but man, Dream was going hard at his family, and that was kind of not very facey. And then this here, where, you know, he loses the match intentionally just so he can beat up Adam Cole. That's something you do after you establish he's got beef with Adam Cole to the level that he would do something like that. Yeah. It didn't feel like he was playing like three-dimensional chess here. It felt like it just felt like a spur of the moment move and wasn't really motivated.
It was messy.
So the booking here has been a little bit head scratching. And in addition, it feels like as a result, Dream is missing some of that mystique that makes his character. Like I feel like Dream is missing something since he came back. And I can't entirely put my finger on it, but it's something about his mystique is not there. They're treating him kind of like a plucky baby face, but at the same time, he's also being kind of a dick heel, and it's not meshing. So yeah, I don't know what's happening here.
I don't either.
It's one of the rare times where NXT booking isn't connecting, with me at least.
No, it's not with me either. Like, since he's come back, the whole thing has just been a mess. It's been one of the few things that I've just been like, eh. Like, normally it's Adam Cole and Roderick Strong and Dream and Marina's in it now. Like, I should be over the moon about this. But they made the match about Dream in the cage with Adam Cole. It wasn't about Roderick Strong. They're like, pick your poison, guys. You need to finish one story before you start another one. It feels this is one of we've raved and ranted about Undisputed Era in a glowing way for the last 2 years.
Sure.
And this is one of the kinks that have always been there for me, is that it's never just one person. You're always going to end up fighting all of them.
All the jackals,
It's the hyena pack mentality kind of thing, right?
Great. Fine. That's how it should be.
Yeah, but the purpose of a cage is to stop that from happening, and it didn't. And it was almost instant.
But I did like the visual of like people on every level of the cage, like in the background, the foreground, climbing, trying to get in. Like that was a cool visual. Like the hyenas are like climbing the walls and Dream has to fend them all off. Like there was something to that. But yes, I agree. Like, you know, a lot of outside interferences in these cage matches. And again, that's one thing I just don't like about cage matches. It should be about the two people in the cage. Look at Cody and Wardlow.
Yeah.
All right. God. I mean, I hate to keep doing this kind of comparative stuff, but we just had a cage match in another company that they nailed it. They nailed what a cage match should be. Two guys locked in a cage and they're forced to fight it out. And one of them is outmatched by the other one. How does he grit it out? Okay. That didn't happen in either of these. You kind of felt that in the first half of the Tegan Nox Dakota Kai match, where it was two people like just hate each other and they want to tear each other apart and they don't want anyone else getting involved. But then ultimately someone else did get involved. And it was another match where there was all about the escape and not about, you know, finishing this inside the ring, inside the cage. And then the second cage match, it was all, like you said, all about people trying to get in, which is fine, but it ended up being about something completely different at the end of it. And again, you know, the whole idea was that now he was locking himself in the cage so he could really beat up this one person, but he didn't have time to do that because they kept getting back in it right away. So why lock yourself in there if you're only going to have a few seconds to really have, you know, your attack on this guy? And you haven't established why you have a motivation to do that. So yeah, like I said, something was off. It seemed over convoluted. Not enough meat there, Nick. Something needs to be done with this feud to make us really want to get behind Dream. Aside from the fact that, you know, it's the Undisputed Era and they're these bastard heels, but the problem is everyone loves them too. So speaking of bastard heels, Johnny Gargano. Gargano. That rat bastard!
Son of a bitch.
He had an absolutely lights out interview with Mauro Ranallo, dude. What did you think about this interview?
Fantastic. Just I have it's almost like no words, no critiques for it.
You just have to go. You have to go watch it. It's almost indescribable. Yeah,
just watch it. It's you will not recognize the man that Johnny Gargano has become.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that I took away from it. We've watched Johnny Gargano for the last 3 to 4 years rise to maybe one of the most epic baby faces of all time in NXT. Through all of the DIY stuff, through all of the Ciampa turn, through all of those fights, and then the feuds with Adam Cole over the last year, he reached a level that I don't think anybody else has in NXT. And I didn't see that guy, one inkling of that guy, in this promo with this interview with Mauro. It's a whole new guy.
It seemed like he something snapped in him. Like you could see where he came from, you know, like the progression. Somehow he got to this place, but something has really snapped inside Gargano, and it's fantastic.
Love it.
And I loved the kind of the twisted heel logic here. And the great thing also was that he started to physically intimidate Mauro Ranallo, and Mauro played it beautifully. Morrow's performance here was outstanding. Like, he just kept getting more and more uncomfortable by how scary and psychotic Johnny was. And, and Johnny, obviously very much over the top, ham acting, but at the same time, really effective, believably scary stuff.
Yeah.
From Johnny Gargano, like getting up in Morrow's face and, like looking like he could strike him at any moment.
If you've been watching for NXT for the last few years, you didn't see this week for whatever reason, you absolutely, like, this was one of 2, maybe 3 things you had to go see on NXT this week.
Yeah.
Go watch this.
It was genuinely chilling. I loved it. So knocked it out of the park with Johnny. I was definitely on the fence about Johnny's heel turn. Overall, I still kind of am. I'm like, all right, off to a good start, but, show me that this can work. This is a really good step in the right direction.
I was doubtful of it until I saw this week.
And it still left so many things open, like Johnny saying, Morrow, you know why I feel this way. Tommaso stares into the camera at the end. Tommaso Ciampa, you know why. We still don't know. We have no idea, but something done happened to this boy. Something done happened. Messed him up.
Yep.
That boy messed up in the head. I love it. Speaking of messed up in the head, Nick, your boy Cameron Grimes came out to run his mouth on our boy Keith Lee. Keith Lee was out to celebrate being North American champion and interrupted by Cameron Grimes, who got booed out of the building. Oh, that crowd did not like him. He could not get a word. It was like a Roman Reigns after WrestleMania promo. Could not get a word in edgewise.
Listen, NXT is known for opening their show really hot with either a hot match or a hot promo, and then they just have wrestling matches kind of for the rest of the night, and it's a lot of action, and it's really fast-paced, and I'm wondering if they're trying to slow down a little bit here over the last few weeks with this new 2-hour show format, if they're trying to something hasn't been firing for me for the last few weeks on NXT. And I don't know if I'm being overwhelmed by how amazing AEW has been, and I just, something's missing. And I don't know if they're reworking stuff, but there's a lot more promo stuff happening on NXT. And I don't know if this was the right thing to do. I don't know who thought bringing Cameron Grimes out opposite Keith Lee in Full Sail would go well.
Well, but it did, I think, because he got a ton of heat. Like, he came out and said, hey, your boy Dijakovic, I stomped the crap out of him last week. Now I want you. I want a shot at that title. And Keith Lee was like, all right, you can get Regal to do it. Come at me next week. But Grimes just got tons of heat. The crowd was like, we don't like you. They're booing everything he says. And that's partly because he's standing across from Keith Lee, and everyone loves Keith Lee.
So he's going to come out next week. He's not going to beat Keith Lee, and he's going to be relegated back to wherever he came from. And that's why I don't like it.
Or there's going to be a screwy finish, and we're going to end up in a fatal 4-way because Keith Lee called out both Damian Priest and Dijak. And we're going to end up in some sort of fatal 4-way at Tampa. Because if you got 3 big guys and little Cameron Grimes running around causing havoc, that's not a bad bit of gumbo right there.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
So very curious to see where this ends up. Also throwing their hats into the gumbo, we had after the match between Undisputed Era, Fish and O'Reilly, they beat Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, the Brit Am Brawlers or Bruisers, whatever they're being called these days. And they were celebrating the ring, saying, we're back to our winning ways. We should challenge for the titles. So of course out came Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne, and said,
the loser waits.
The loser waits. Too easy. And said, well, you know what? Stallion Riddle's okay with this. Stallion Dunn's okay with this. Let's have us a title match. But before they can finish,
oh, God,
the grizzled young vets come out of the back and drop them. And once again, we get a brilliant Zach Gibson promo saying that they will not be forgotten.
In a suit.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do I have to say this on this show? Dick Heel in a suit works every time. Look at that beautiful blue pinstripe suit that Zach Gibson had on, and that fire promo that he cut.
It's like
put
everyone
a microphone in Zach Gibson's hand and kick everybody out. I don't care. I love Zach Gibson. When NXT UK started, I was very somewhat unfamiliar with him, but have watched him grow and just become this absolute monster on the microphone. Might be the best guy with a mic going right now.
I want to do a little addendum to that. Dick Heel in a suit with a Liverpool accent.
Yeah. Actually, anything with any kind of British accent is better, right?
That helps a lot. Number one. So, I mean, better than
I'm not even going to attempt to do that.
Number two.
Yeah.
So I love this. Grizzled Young Vets versus Undisputed Era, possibly versus the Broserweights. Put it in my eye holes.
Yes.
Done, sold, I'm there. And I'm glad that the Grizzled Young Vets, look like they got called up to NXT, as it were, and it looks like they're going to be a mainstay there. Mwah. If y'all don't know Grizzled Young Vets, you're in for a treat.
Yes.
Speaking of in for a treat, Austin Theory's career continues to be on NXT, although he had a match against Swerve Scott, our boy Swerve Scott, and he took him out, Nick, I think, pretty handily.
I want to... in a lot of the other stuff that's been going on in NXT for a couple of years now, it's every now and then we sometimes just get a match. And
I know. Yeah, I got you.
And sometimes you just want to sit back. You want to go to your wrestling show. You just want to sit back. You want to not have to know entire storylines for the last 2 years to be able to be invested in what's going on in the ring or doing a promo or during a match. You just want to see some dudes wrestle that are really good at change wrestling, that are really good at grappling with each other, that are just really good
chemistry.
That is exactly what this match was. There is no reason these two guys have any beef or reason to be in the ring with it. It was just a good old-fashioned match.
Unless you watch Evolve. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
And I absolutely loved this for it. Austin Theory is a goddamn superstar in the waiting, in the making. Killshot we absolutely adore from Lucha Underground and can go with anybody.
But when is it his time? Is it ever going to be his time, or is he going to be enhancement? Like
how many NXT people, superstars, have we said that about over the last 3 or 4 years? So
that's what I'm worried about.
It will come at some point, right?
I hope you're right.
Austin Theory is on the fast track to get up to the main roster.
Yeah, he's basically kind of like a better wrestler male version of Lacey Evans, where we say once Vince sees him, it's off to the races.
Yeah.
Once Vince gets his eyes on this boy, it's over.
Right now, he looks like, we just saw the documentary on the Ruthless Aggression thing about John Cena, that episode of that, where he comes out in the origins of John Cena, where he just came out of OVW in like trunks. And that was it. And I kind of feel that way about Austin Theory right now. Like, he doesn't really have a story, doesn't really have a gimmick. He's just in some trunks. And if we figure out a way to give that dude a gimmick and he starts to build up some momentum around that stuff, watch out. That guy's got superstar. He is the total package. And if you've seen any of the stuff that he's done in Evolve, it's fantastic. And I can say the exact same thing about
He's got
Killshot.
all the talent in the world, all the possibilities in the world. And he's basically, Vince was like, I don't like Finn because he's little. Well, you got basically Finn Balor, only he's bigger. Yep. So there you go. Well, just, without the pedigree and the history and the Japanese training and all that. I don't
think there's any consequence of either one of these dudes winning or losing in this match. They both
was just kind of there.
Amazing in this match.
Well, what did you think about the outcome of the Chelsea Green Shotzi Blackheart match, where Chelsea beat Shotzi? It was actually pretty entertaining. I like this match, but Chelsea's winning now, and it makes me want the two things here, Nick. Why did Shotzi get that push where she looked really good, had like a whole thing going with Shayna, and then now she's just kind of there? And why did Chelsea lose her first match after joining the Robert Stone brand? Like, what
Shayna
was
gone.
With that?
Shayna go bye-bye. All that went
right.
with Shayna.
So you're saying reset button? Is that what you're saying?
Reset button, yeah.
So
I actually like the fact that Shotzi's over AF at Full Sail, especially with the little tank. Who doesn't love that? Jesus Christ.
Come on. It's a tank.
Chelsea Green with the Robert Stone brand. I'm starting to come around on it a little bit. I have potential for it. There's hope for it, potential for it. I'm trying to be skeptically optimistic about it. But these two...
I agree. Jumping in here, I also agree. Tons of good, love the idea of her and the Robert Stone brand. But again, why have them lose the first time and then now they have to rebuild it? That's okay. Sorry, go ahead. Jump in with that.
I agree with you there. They didn't invest in it by having that kind of stuff. But these two having a match and now they're going to have a ladder match in Tampa. Okay.
Yeah.
Feed me my popcorn and let me watch these two go at each other. I don't have a reason to like really care at this point. I just want to see, much like the previous match, I just want to see really good wrestlers wrestle.
You're right. And maybe I just need to turn my brain off about it and be like, okay, the history is history. Let's just enjoy what we have right now. And as you said, ladder match in Tampa, you have my attention.
One last little thing here. There is enough, like, who have we not seen on NXT in weeks at this point? There is so much female superstar talent in NXT right now. It is absolutely absurd. Like, they could take and start their own women's show. They could a modern version of Glow if they wanted to, with all of the talent that they've got down there. And then to juxtapose that, we look at AEW, and it looks like they're kind of running around like headless chickens and not really sure what they're doing over there. And I'm going, well, where's all?
Right.
Well, it's because is it because NXT's hoarding all the talent? Is it because
They snatched up a lot of the good indie talent before AEW could start. They really did. They went around and grabbed a whole bunch of really talented women and put them under some sort of contract. And that is definitely, I think, one of the reasons why AEW is hurting right now. Because
how many of them are sitting there at the PC getting paid $45,000 a year to do nothing when they look over at AEW going, "Wow, I could probably be something over there."
Right. I don't know if they'd be getting paid much more, but there's tons of opportunity in AEW. Yeah. So one wonders, this is why, Tainara Conti was almost out the door, and then she wasn't. And one wonders what they did to make her stick around because, I don't think that she would have gone and been a superstar in AEW, but, she definitely could have. She could probably looking over there being like, I wonder what I could do over there.
I'm definitely not doing anything over here, so why not?
Exactly. So...
Well, there we go, guys. NXT is done. We've got to get ready to go home to Elimination Chamber. But before we can make our picks, we've got to go over what went down last night on Friday Night Smackdown. Are you ready?
No. Stop
Are you ready for a good time?
I just got it out of my head. What are you doing? Stop that. Stop that.
Please change the song, WWE. Please change the song, Fox. It's so bad.
They're making me mad at AC/DC, and that's just
that's hard to do.
Jesus, even watching Iron Man 20 times can't make me that sick of AC/DC. All right, so let's talk about this show. Kind of the exact opposite of the Jake the Snake promo on AEW. We had the NWO coming out on a moment of bliss. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kids, Six Pack, whatever you want to call him. They all came out to be interviewed on a moment of bliss. Alexa and Nikki were fangirling over them. Nikki even went to get a selfie. And they basically ran down all the things that were happening. They were asked about what they thought about getting in the Hall of Fame, what they thought about Goldberg versus Roman Reigns, which led to one of my favorite lines of the night is, what does Roman Reigns need to do to beat Bill Goldberg? And Scott Hall says, I was talking to him on the phone. What you need is to have Scott Hall and a taser.
Cattle prod.
That's cattle prod. What's that? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. And there was a lot of things to chuckle at in this. They're very entertaining guys, and that was on full display. Scott Hall is still like, he can say just almost nothing and have me in stitches. And he did a few times here. Just off the cuff stuff. That was a shocking finish. Like, okay, that was great.
Yeah.
But then out came Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro, and got face-to-face with the NWO in the ring, and things broke down, to say the least, Nick. Basically, how do I put this? Sami Zayn talks smack to the NWO. At one point, he said that, he's like, oh, yeah, Scott Hall, one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. Kevin Nash, you were an Intercontinental champion when you were Big Daddy Diesel. X-Pac, you know how heavy the Intercontinental title is because you've carried their bags your whole career. X-Pac gets up, is like, okay, dude, you want to go? Fine. All right. And then we had one of the weirdest moments I can remember in recent memory is the NWO standing up on their creaky ass old legs and their busted ass hips and trying to stare down three young hosses. Now, the thing here, Nick, is the NWO towers. towers over Sammy, Cesaro, and Nakamura, who are not little guys, but as a reminder of how big wrestlers used to be.
Right.
Like, remember how we used to think that X-Pac was tiny?
He's not.
And he's almost bigger than Sami Zayn.
It puts in perspective how big Triple H and Shawn Michaels were next to him.
It puts in perspective how big everyone was back in the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, here the NWO is staring down these guys. Out comes Braun Strowman, takes out Cesaro and Nakamura, and then has trapped Sami Zayn in the ring. Sami uses Alexa as a shield to escape. But at the end of this, I was left thinking, in comparison to having Jake the Snake come out and, never physically threaten Cody, but he threatened it with his mind. He made us interested for things that were going to happen. He insulted Cody, but never made Cody seem weak, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He dissed him and he walked away from him, but it wasn't like he buried Cody. Here, it made it seem like these guys would be like these hosses, these, guys who are strong, like Cesaro, who's got more wrestling talent in his pinky than these three guys. I know it's a bold statement. Scott Hall's really good. X-Pac is pretty good too. Nash is Nash. But it seemed like these three guys couldn't beat these three old dudes. I know that X-Pac can still go, but Hall and Nash looked like they were about to burst into dust like a Thanos snap at any second.
I just said it in chat. I was waiting for DDP to pop up out of the ring through the mat and go, DDP Yoga. It can do the same for you.
I mean, the fact that Nash is able to walk is a miracle. The fact that Scott Hall is alive is a miracle.
Yeah.
But was this another instance of the old guys getting over at the expense of the young guys?
It was nostalgia. Who doesn't love seeing the NWO? Who doesn't love hearing that?
But that's my point. That's exactly my point, Nick. It was nostalgia and nothing more. We had nostalgia for Jake the Snake, and then they built something.
Yep.
Did this make you more excited to see Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn and Cesaro at Elimination Chamber?
No, it just told me that he's going to beat the absolute shit out of him.
Right. This was just filleting the NWO and then making these young heels look like goobers.
Yeah.
Frankly, and that bothered me. And especially if it had been on a week where I hadn't seen Jake the Snake, I probably would have been like, all right. It was cute. It was nostalgic, but it kind of sucked.
And then it got better or worse depending on your perspective because out comes Braun Strowman.
That's what I'm saying. Braun Strowman came out and made them, chase them all off.
Whooped their asses and just said,
their asses, chase them off.
Get these hands because it's too sweet.
Killing me.
What are you guys
Killing
doing?
Me. I don't know. No, sir. I didn't like it. All right, let's talk about probably the best thing on the show. One of the best things on the show. Otis and Tucker were in a gauntlet match, a tag team gauntlet match. The winner of the tag team gauntlet match would come out last at Elimination Chamber. So basically, we had a gauntlet match to prepare us for a gauntlet match. Okay. This is how WWE promotes its shows. Hey, see this match you're seeing right now? You're going to see the same thing on Sunday, only with the Chamber.
This was a test to see if Heavy Machinery had the stamina to go the distance in the Chamber tomorrow. That was my take.
And by God, guess what? They did. It was
God.
The story of this match was Heavy Machinery overcomes all the odds. First, they beat New Day, which at least they pinned Big E. They pinned Big E. But by the way, Nick, can we have a moment for big meaty men slapping meat? Can we have a moment for that?
We finally got that legit face off and rope running into each other and dear God. Please make that happen. Let's have a full match.
It was a tease. That was a tease. I'm like, give me more of that on Sunday, please.
Yes.
But yeah, so they ended up surprisingly beating New Day. And we're like, oh, all right, cool. And then afterwards it came out, they had a whole match with Lucha House Party. A whole match with them. They got some work in on that match. Lucha House Party actually was out there for a while.
When it started, and I said, we got excited because they had a backstage segment with Heavy Machinery. They had a backstage thing with Fire and Desire and all that stuff. And then Dolph was with them, and we saw we have the gauntlet match, and starting out, New Day. Oh, okay, so New Day is going to run table here, so we end up back with Heavy Machinery out next. I'm like, oh, yeah, God damn it, just they're not going to beat the New Day. They did! And then they beat Lucha House Party.
And then a quick sudden roll up on the Usos. Now they're in 3 deep, and that's when I kind of saw which way this was all going to go. Because as you said, Nick, the story was Otis had tried to talk to Mandy earlier in the night, and she said, you don't leave a girl high and dry. You were late. Dolph Ziggler was there. So that's just the way it is. Now Dolph is coming out with my matches, which he was. He came out for one of Mandy's matches this evening. And so Otis already now pissed off at Dolph. Now he's got even more reason to be pissed off at Dolph. So you kind of see where this is going.
This is all okay.
Right. They beat the Usos, and then out come Miz and Morrison. And the one thing that I was kind of griping about this tag match, this gauntlet match, was they beat the Usos with a surprise roll-up, and then they beat Miz and Morrison with a surprise roll-up. And I was like, you could have done something a little creative there, but all right, fine. The whole point was to get them all the way through, so they had to face, at the end, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Coming out, by the way, to Ziggler's music, not some sort of combination. Straight up Ziggler. Hey, everybody, pay attention. That bastard, Dolph Ziggler, is going to be in the ring with Otis. Otis finally going to get his hands on Ziggler. Only he couldn't because after the Miz and Morrison match, they put Otis through the barricade in the timekeepers area. So it was just Tucker alone against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler for most of this match.
Yeah.
And then we had that great moment where Otis rose from the dead, Nick, and he stumbled over to his corner and got a hot tag in. And it's time.
I think I was even saying in the chat in Discord last night watching it, I'm like, when Otis finally gets up, it's going to be the ultimate hot tag.
Let's go. Well, yeah.
And even they drew it out so long, I was going,
they did.
He's not even going to get up. I'm like, oh my God, is this to showcase Tucker? Look at how Tucker was a made man last night. Whether you believe that or not, he ran that whole thing. He put in all the work. If you didn't know that Tucker was a collegiate wrestler and a damn amateur wrestling superstar, you do now. He's massive and he's got moves. Maybe not the best charisma, maybe not the best mic skills, but he's got a lot of potential.
Guys, talented AF, and that's what Otis is there for. Otis is there to be the character, and he was, man. That his fire up. He gets in the ring with Robert Roode and starts basically just hulking up on Robert Roode.
Otising up.
Yeah. Steaks and weights, baby. Every time he gets chopped, he's trying to jiggles his tummy and he comes back into it. The audience was loving it. But ultimately, as he's going for a caterpillar on Robert Roode, son of a bitch, Dolph Ziggler sneaks in with the super kick, takes him out, and Roode and Ziggler win the match overall, as it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be.
This is fine.
And now even more heat. Is there anybody on SmackDown more over than Otis right now?
No. I've been saying that for weeks.
In terms of like immediate crowd excitement about him.
No, when we got to the second match in this gauntlet with Lucha House Party, it clicked with me, and I'm like, my kind of fantasy booking of this was have Ziggler and Roode come out last, but have Mandy come out with Ziggler, and somehow Mandy distracts Otis, and that's how they end up getting the win. I still think that would have worked better than just the super kick and we're done.
I like this because it made Dolph Ziggler seem like an opportunist, and it's just more insulting.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? This just hurts. This stings. You're like, God damn it.
It's going to make for a better match tomorrow night.
And they showed that Mandy was backstage with Dolph before the match, kind of sort of encouraging him and him saying, I got this, don't worry. While that little glitch was on the monitor behind them for whoever that's for, whether it's Ali or Killer Cross, we don't know.
But we also saw her backstage watching Otis laying after being thrown into the barricade, laid out, and looking like she felt guilty or feeling sorry for him or something like that. So look, this is all fine.
They're laying the seeds.
This is all it's gonna come together, and I still have hopes that Otis is gonna get the girl, and it's gonna be because he puts down the evil Dolph Ziggler and proves that he's a dastardly evil son of a bitch, and this is all gonna be fine.
I feel like they are timing this perfectly for WrestleMania. Yeah. Like they've been slow. This is one of the few things they've been slow playing. They've been doing it right the entire time. We've got 4 weeks to WrestleMania. You've got plenty of time to set up a Dolph Ziggler versus Otis match after Elimination Chamber with Mandy as a special guest referee. And then Otis gets the girl at WrestleMania to an enormous pop, and he's got his WrestleMania moment. That is what I'm seeing. If they don't do that, they are leaving money on the table.
Yep.
Period. Firefly Funhouse. Let's talk about it. We had a Firefly Funhouse on the show where Bray Wyatt explained why he came out on John Cena last week. Nick, I know you loved this, so why don't you give me your opinion on it?
First of all, I loved that all the pictures were down and it was all John Cena pictures. And we didn't really get a lot.
How could you tell?
What do you mean?
saw a bunch of pictures. I saw a bunch of pictures of like empty rooms.
Huh?
I couldn't see anything in the pictures.
Oh, okay.
What?
So there were a bunch of pictures of John
What?
Cena on the wall. I get it. It's
What?
there were a bunch of pictures of John Cena on the wall. All had the markings. Some of them even had like a little tail drawn on, like mustaches and all that fun stuff. And last week, when we first got that match, when John Cena was giving his pseudo-retirement speech from wrestling, only to be confronted by The Fiend at the top of the ramp and effectively agreeing to a WrestleMania match with The Fiend, I said, I hope that this has something to do with the fact that Cena beat him at Mania 30, and that was the beginning of the end for the Bray Wyatt character. And it didn't feel like it went anywhere, nothing like that. So I was over the moon surprised and happy that they turned the ship right into that. And they showed it being covered. They showed all that stuff.
The best line of that was the loss of WrestleMania that caused the beginning of the downward spiral of your personal, private, and public life and career. I don't have it right in front of me what he exactly said, but something to that effect. And he just kind of like, yeah, it's not like that was what it was. Or I guess Ramblin' Rabbit was the one who said that. It was basically like, yeah, John Cena's the reason for everything falling apart for you, isn't he?
Yeah, right.
Hashtag
sarcasm.
Right. So here's the thing, though. It was so on the nose. And the Firefly Funhouse segments, the best ones, have been the ones that are a little mysterious or strange or obtuse. And this one was just so on the nose from beginning to end that it took me out of it a little bit, if that makes sense. I agree with you. I love that they're building it on that. That was, for me, like, if you go back and listen to the first few episodes of the show, you find me 200 episodes ago at the beginning of like a massive downhill slide of depression for Bray Wyatt. Loved Bray Wyatt, was furious with how they were booking him. And that depressive slide started with him losing to John Cena at WrestleMania 30 because he should have won that match. And he should have he should have won his subsequent matches against, his big opponents. But he didn't. They never let him win the big matches. And that was what killed his character. So I love that they're doing this angle. But do you see what I mean about being too on the nose with this?
I do. And here's what I'll contribute to it. Yesterday, we did a bonus episode for you $10 patrons out there. And one of the things that we talked about was Undertaker and how they strapped him right pretty rapidly. And he lost it within 6 days, and he didn't get it again for 6 years.
Yes.
And immediately my head went straight to The Fiend. And like last summer, we were like, keep it in your pants. He doesn't need a belt. He's a mystical character from another world, another dimension, whatever. He doesn't give a shit about a title. Keep it in your pants. Just let it run its course.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway. But I feel like looking back on it, hindsight 2020, if I knew that Goldberg taking it off of him would lead to Cena at Mania, and there would be no title involved, and it would just be him continuing to kill legends and all of this stuff, and just things would continue, and we'd be back to Firefly Funhouse last summer as it was. Is it a big reset button? I'm skeptically optimistic that we might be taking things back to where they should have been in the first place. We've got a little bit too heavy, too fast, with all the titles and a $6,000 belt. but I'm sitting here going skeptically optimistic. Let's see where this goes, because I feel like this is where it should have been going the whole time anyway.
They never should have strapped him in the first place. It ruined ruined everything with Seth. It ruined everything with him. Like, it was a dumb idea to put the title on him in the first place. They would the whole reason they did this thing with Goldberg was just to get the title off him. They're intentionally not. If you watch any of the video packages, they don't show you Goldberg beating him. They just say Goldberg won the title in Saudi Arabia. They don't say who he beat.
Yeah.
When he came out, Goldberg last week, he said, it doesn't matter who's last. It matters who's next. Don't think about the fact that it's beat the Fiend. That's the messaging here. The messaging is ignore the fact that we just had the Fiend beat by Goldberg. Yep. Ignore it. Because what matters more is Goldberg's the champ now. He's going to face Roman Reigns. But that's admitting tacitly to me.
Yep.
You should have never put the damn title on him in the first place.
They know.
That was a mistake. And they know now.
Lesson learned. Course
correction.
We
knew then, Nick.
Yeah. Well, we think they listen sometimes, and sometimes they don't pay attention to us, but that's fine. I'm fine with failures. I'm fine with course corrections. Let's set the ship right. This is what the Fiend should be doing. Bray Wyatt should be on at least every other week doing a Funhouse episode, targeting somebody, telling a story. Let's get back to the Muscle Man dance vignettes. Let's get back to the Ramblin' Rablet jelly stuff, and
we're back to but we're back to what he was initially doing, which was avenging all the grievances from Bray Wyatt's past.
Yes.
Right? So now we're doing this. This is a built-in story. Is it an old one? Yeah, it's a few years old, but I think they can build something out of this. Something interesting, something better, by the way, than Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns for the title.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Am I mad about the Goldberg loss? Yes, but at least WWE's trying to sweep it under the rug and move us on to a much better program. Yep. So I'm going to look at this glass half full.
Attaboy.
There is no glass half full, however, in the women's division of SmackDown. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Lacey and Naomi. Naomi eats the pin here. So sorry, lady, you're not getting your title shot anymore. You were just a time fill. We're back to Lacey, I guess, going for Bayley at Mania. That seems to be the way they're headed with this. Didn't we just have Lacey versus Bayley at Royal Rumble?
Go back and watch. You were not paying attention, certain dangerous.
Oh, what happened?
You did not see Sasha Banks cutting eyes at the SmackDown Women's Championship in their backstage segment after.
Oh, you think it's gonna be Bayley versus Sasha at WrestleMania?
Yep.
Is that more exciting? What's the most exciting?
Is that more exciting than Bayley and Lacey Evans again? Yes, of course it is. But we never really got the true. We all want the rebirth of Bayley versus Sasha from NXT. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to reinvent that all over again. But damn it, we can try. And there's been half-hearted attempts at it in the past, and it just never delivered. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. I don't know. It's literally a month from tomorrow, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You think that's enough time to turn?
Is that enough time to turn Sasha face and get everyone behind her after everything that's happened? Because it looks, again, let's put a little marker on this moment here, Nick. Nick is seeing Sasha eyeing the title and thinking it's going to be Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania. I'm saying it's Vince. He's going to have Lacey avenge her loss at Royal Rumble at Mania, and we're going to have a big, strong, beautiful blonde holding a title aloft at WrestleMania. We're going to have two of them, as a matter of fact. It's either going to be Charlotte or Rhea, and then it's going to be Lacey beating Bayley. So, meanwhile, Bianca Belair and Naomi are sitting at home. I'm not going to, make it any more explicit than that. But you get what I'm saying.
Yep. I just don't think we're going to get a rematch of Lacey Bayley again at WrestleMania. That's really because that sounds kind of boring.
Kind of boring, right? So we'll see what happens.
Didn't do well the first time. It won't deliver the second time. And if they're scrambling right now because that leak of whatever the WrestleMania card was going to be, and then the scuttlebutt that Vince, I think it came out of Wrestling Observer News and Dave, that Vince was worried about the card. He scrambled everything. He scrambled everything up. So I'm sitting here going, can he do that in 4 weeks? Can he flip Sasha on Bayley and pull it off to the point where they're having a blood match at WrestleMania? Abso-friggin-lutely he can.
No. Hold on a second. He can do it, and it can just be arbitrary.
Sure.
It won't. Will it be entertaining? Is the question.
He better start next Friday.
Be good? You better. Yeah, right. You better start at Elimination Chamber tomorrow. Sasha better turn on her. It better happen now. But do they? Neither of them have it.
It's what they should have done at SummerSlam last year. I told you should have done.
Yeah, but Nick, they don't do what you tell them.
I know.
Okay.
We would have had this amazing long-term story of Sasha coming and going and sneaking up on Bayley. Oh my God! Please listen.
No, it's gonna be. I'm telling you right now, dude. Lacey Bayley at WrestleMania. Sorry.
Nope. I'm on. I saw the hints of what I wanted to see, or I didn't want to see this, but I noticed it, and I was just like, oh no.
No.
Oh no.
You know what I noticed? I noticed Lacey not getting pinned is what I noticed.
Yeah. Well.
And them talking crap about her backstage. Speaking of the women's division, Carmella and Dana Brooke got taken out by Fire and Desire fairly easily. So that happened. Dana and Carmella back to being losers.
Hang on. Fire and Desire won a match?
Yeah.
Mandy got the pin?
Yeah.
What?
Because she had Dolph in her corner, Nick. That was the point of this whole thing, was just to show that Mandy's a winner when Dolph's there. Make us all mad. You know who else is a winner? Sheamus. He beat Apollo Crews.
Nobody cares.
Squashed him.
Not one fuck was given.
Since Sheamus has come back, he has only had matches with Chad Gable and Apollo Crews. The only interesting thing here is that we had a repeat to remind us that Apollo Crews is being a dick to Chad Gable backstage. Chad says, I can help you with Sheamus, and Apollo Crews just walked away from him. Okay. Nick, I do not care where this is going. There's no forward progression with this. Sheamus, at the end of this match, got on the turnbuckle and posed and said, are you not entertained? And I thought that was probably the most ironic thing that was said on this entire show.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. Also, Daniel Bryan caught Drew Gulak talking backstage about how he knew all of his moves. And Daniel Bryan said, cool, if you know my moves, let's have a match this Sunday, and you can prove it. All right. So we're getting Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan this Sunday, which is fine. It should be entertaining. It'll probably be on the pre-show or like the P-break match. I don't know what they're going to do with this, and I have no idea what they're going to do with Daniel Bryan for WrestleMania now. What is happening here? Honestly, most of this, we started off really hot on SmackDown. We dissed the NWO segment. We said that the enormous, nearly 40-minute gauntlet match was good overall. But dude, most of the SmackDown sucked.
It was terrible.
It sucked, and it would seem like it was made up that night, and they just didn't care. Like, there's like, go out and have a match. It's the same thing as last week, but it doesn't matter. Like, it didn't seem like they were trying at all. We even had a segment where Baron Corbin was backstage saying, yeah, I'm done with Roman Reigns, but now I've got other things on my plate, and I'm gonna do some stuff. And then it gets interrupted by Elias, and Baron Corbin says, I don't like your stupid guitar, so yeah, we're gonna fight. So we may be getting Baron Corbin versus Elias at WrestleMania, or if we're really lucky and have been good boys and girls, we'll get it this Sunday Elimination Chamber.
Yay!
Yay. One last thing about SmackDown, Nick, before we get out of here on SmackDown, and start talking about Elimination Chamber, because I just want to be done with this show. This was not good this week.
No.
It was hard to watch, except for the gauntlet match thank God, was entertaining. I felt bad for that crowd in Buffalo for most of this. For most of this, I was like, at least they got to see the NWO and have the good gauntlet match. But a lot of that was just, oof.
Yeah.
You guys had to pay money for this. They had a segment, and it was This Week in WWE History, right? Showing us things that have happened on the road to WrestleMania in the past. And it was showing the Occupy Raw segment, where Daniel Bryan got all his people in the Yes shirts to jump in the ring and held it hostage until he got his match with Triple H at WrestleMania.
I love how you went like full Family Guy vaudeville radio guy there.
That's what it felt like. Look at how great the feuds were in the past on the road to WrestleMania. Don't you remember how great it was back in the day when we actually had feuds that were building to WrestleMania, and we didn't have a feud where someone just came to the ring and said, I'm facing you at WrestleMania, which we did to 2 different major feuds last week. Remember when we had a build? That's what I'm thinking when I saw this. I'm like, why are you reminding us of how it should be to build a feud to WrestleMania that we give a crap about, when this year what you gave us was 2 people essentially going, let's have a match at WrestleMania. Okay. And those are your 2 biggest matches. I'm next. Oh, what a feud. What a build. Boy, soiled my pants.
Yep. Thanks, Filthy Casuals.
So, oh, come on.
Keep buying tickets.
It's nothing to do with them. Well, it's not even that. I mean, it's, they bought this, a lot of those tickets. Now, granted, WrestleMania isn't sold out, but most people bought it months and months ago because it's WrestleMania. Nick, next year, I'm going to buy my ticket before I know what the card is for WrestleMania when it's here in LA. Like, it's not, this is everybody. Like, you're going to have, WrestleMania is going to be.
If we're all still here and the damn Motaba coronavirus doesn't take us all out.
well, but that's what I'm saying is that, like, it's, you throw around the Filthy Casuals thing. It's not, dude. We're all fans of WWE.
No, I know.
And would be there at WrestleMania buying those tickets. And it's disappointing to see that this year, it's not being done as well as it has in the past, or we would have hoped it would be. And it's just because they didn't plan well enough for it, and they had to throw things together at the last second.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it was a sad reminder of that. They might have wanted to pick another thing to remind us of.
It's one of the best builds to WrestleMania in WWE history.
Right.
And it went on for 6 months at least.
It's unique.
It started off before Royal Rumble. It ran all the way up for 4 to 6 months. I don't know. That's lightning in a bottle that I don't know that it'll ever capture again. You're definitely not going to do it with having Roman Reigns going, I'm next. That's not a WrestleMania build.
6 years from now, are we going to have, remember, back in the day in 2020 when Roman Reigns said, I'm next. Ah, that's a WrestleMania moment to remember. I don't think so.
Whatever that music is they do for the Hall of Fame when they do these throwbacks back to remember back in 2014 when Daniel Bryan made his run up back to WrestleMania.
Bruno Sammartino in the Garden. Actually, I want to throw out a quick thank you, man. This got sent to me.
Yes.
Bruno Sammartino's final wrestling match in the Brendan Byrne Meadowlands Arena, October 4th, 1981. The actual program from that. Arthur Capone. Arthur Capone sent this to me. That was very cool. It's going to go up on my wall, but I've just got it sitting here for right now.
That's fantastic.
Because I'm lazy. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you very much, Arthur. Very cool.
Darth Suzuki back there as well.
Yeah, I got a signed Darth Suzuki right next to it, but I mean, that's a couple cool things. So good, cool stuff. Thank you very much, Arthur. That being said, Nick, we were talking about it before. Now it is time. We need to put our necks on the line and give our pick'ems for Elimination Chamber.
Starting things off likely on the pre-show, Daniel Bryan faces off against Drew Gulak.
Got you going on it.
Yeah, you got me going.
Yeah, sorry. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Come on, Daniel Bryan, right?
Listen, I didn't get to say this earlier. I want to say this now. Any given Sunday, these two guys having a technical wrestling match for 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen on Sunday.
It's going to be on the pre-show. It's going to last about 8 minutes, and we're all going to be really pissed off about it.
It's going to be a squash.
Right. So the whole thing here is to prove that Drew Gulak knows nothing about Daniel Bryan, and my skeptically optimistic hope is that this leads into an actual long-term feud with these two guys, where we do get to see that masterpiece that we all want to see between these two absolute technicians in the ring. I just don't think we're going to see it on Sunday. Daniel Bryan's going to absolutely destroy him.
Yeah, he's going to wipe the floor with them. I don't know where they're going with this. I'm hoping for some kind of surprise. Surprise me. Do something interesting with this. Have like the rest of the social outcasts run out and help Gulak beat Daniel Bryan. Surprise me. But come on paper, I can't not pick Daniel Bryan to win this. Yeah. So
Line Drive in the chat did say really quickly that it is Drew Gulak's hometown, which guarantees he's not winning.
Oh, well, maybe he's working heel in this.
It's also Philly too. They could be a very, very interesting crowd at times.
Yeah. I don't know who they're going to go for. That is weird. That's going to be a weird dynamic. Man, poor Philadelphia's getting. I mean, wow. They're not going to know what to think with this card. This could be very interesting. This crowd could rebel. This could be I'm actually more. I didn't realize it was in Philadelphia. This could be very interesting.
Yep. At this show.
Aleister Black versus AJ Styles, no DQ. Who's picking up the victory here, sir?
Oh, man. I want to know what kind of implications this is going to have on WrestleMania. And with Taker and Styles teed up to be the match at WrestleMania, how does Black fit into that equation? I think a no DQ match favors AJ Styles, so I'm going to go AJ Styles.
I'm gonna lock you in on that before I explain what I think is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
See, I think that having Black lose last week on Monday, they had to nearly kill him to beat him. I don't feel like they're going to have him lose twice. They shouldn't have him lose twice, is what I'm saying. But because it's no DQ, I think that actually favors Aleister Black here. It's going to look like it favors AJ because you've got the Good Brothers running in. But again, we're not trying to build towards Aleister Black and AJ at WrestleMania. We're trying to build towards Undertaker. So it'd make a lot more sense for the dead man to show up. It's WrestleMania season. He tends to show up from time to time.
Yep.
Undertaker to show up, take AJ out again, and have Aleister pin him.
That makes more sense.
Or if Undertaker's busy somewhere else, just hit the gong and have AJ get distracted and then pinned by Aleister or whatever. They
eat a black mass and he's done.
Right, gets distracted, eats the black mass, and that he's done. That I think is more likely what's going to happen. I would feel bad for Philadelphia if they just give them the gong and no actual Taker. But either way, I think Aleister Black is winning this match. Andrade Cien Almas versus Humberto Carrillo for the U.S. title. This is a rematch of the pre-show match at Royal Rumble. Will they actually give these guys some time this time, Nick? And if so, who's winning?
Yes, and I think they might finally strap Carrillo.
Really?
Yep. I'm going to go Carrillo.
Here's the problem. If they strap Carrillo here, what do you do at WrestleMania?
It's a built-in Garza feud.
But do you do Garza that quickly?
Yep.
I mean, now that
Kid's
Andrade's
got rockets
back,
on his back.
does he though? Because initially he was supposed to only come up to just cover for Andrade. Does he stick around now? Now that Vince has seen that the guy is also a superstar and also seen what happens when he rips off his pants.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a dong you got there, kid.
I'm so.
I can't send you back down to NXT with a package like that.
I can't believe these words are in my head and are going to come out of my mouth. But I'm kind of moved on past Andrade. I'm so amped about.
Get out of here!
I'm so amped about Carrillo and Garza now that I can't even see Andrade being in this picture right now.
Fickle.
Yes.
Fickle.
Admittedly.
Short-term attention span.
Admittedly.
Oh my God.
I just feel like he did something. He's being punished. If he even has a match at WrestleMania, I will be pleasantly surprised. Andrade.
Garza did it to you too, Nick. You were hypnotized.
I am. The Garza dong has me on lock.
Oh my God.
I'm hypnotized by the Garza dong.
Hypnotized. It's like it's just swinging along there like a pendulum. And
it ain't
you are
swinging.
Getting very sleepy. Very sleepy. You love Angel Garza more than you like Andrade. That's right, Nick. Look at
all the backstage stuff they're doing with Garza. They had him with the cruiserweight. He nailed it, knocked it out of the park. The promos, everything. He's up flirting with Charlie. He's doing the whole package. Garza is a made man at this point as far as I'm concerned. And the quickest way to get him to strapped and to be a bigger thing than he already is to get him in a feud for the U.S. title with Carrillo at WrestleMania. That's how I see that playing out.
Let me be clear. I love Angel Garza. I think he's absolutely a superstar. The best argument I've heard for him actually getting the jump over Andrade just came from our chat. Line Drive said Garza speaks English, and Vince has always struggled with Andrade because of the lack of English.
Bingo.
Totally true. Andrade's getting better at English. It helps to spending a lot of time with Ric Flair's daughter, but Garza's already there. And that, I'm sorry, but that smooth move on Charlie Caruso, whatever it was, a week or two ago, was just mwah. That was so good.
She had the Cheshire Cat grin on her ear.
Oh,
too.
that was I don't think she had to work too hard to get that reaction.
All the percolatings were happening.
What was that? She too was hypnotized.
Yes.
Hypnotized by the swinging dong. No, so that's the thing is I could see Garza getting a big push because of everything he's done over the last month. The original plan was he was going to come up for a month, cover for Andrade, and go back down to NXT. I could see him sticking around. But again, do you wait to strap the face at WrestleMania? Or are you putting over Garza at WrestleMania because Carrillo wins here? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like what I want to see is that, that fatal four-way ladder match at WrestleMania. I think we've all been saying that. Obviously, we have no idea if that's actually in Vince's plans or not. But I would like to see that. And for that, I feel like the heel has to retain and go in with Andrade as the champ. I guess you don't have to, but I feel like Andrade should be the champ going into it. And then it could be Garza, Rey, or Carrillo to take it off of him at WrestleMania.
If Andrade carries the title all the way to Mania and has to defend it at Mania, I'm going to start getting a little conspiracy theory about the Charlotte Flair influence.
I think a lot of people would. And also, I also don't like the idea of Carrillo dropping a match twice one-on-one to Andrade.
Exactly.
At pay-per-views. Like, I don't like that either. So.
Especially, it was on the pre-show,
3 times
too,
in a row.
wasn't it?
3 times in a row. Didn't we? Yeah, we had Carrillo and Andrade in Saudi Arabia, too. Yeah.
So that was when he was coming back off his naughty time, his suspension. So again, don't forget about his suspension as well. He's probably still being punished a little bit. And I've kind of, with the rise of Garza, I've moved on. I'm ready to see Garza Carrillo have a legit match for a title that has some stakes around it, and I think that's going to go down at WrestleMania. And the only way we get there is having Carrillo win over Andrade here. Sorry, I think that's where my head's at.
All right, I'm actually. I'm not going to lie. I was originally going to pick Andrade, and now you've actually planted the seed of doubt. So I'm going to go with Carrillo just to be safe. I don't want to drop this point after all the time we just spent on it. Street Profits versus Rollins and Murphy for the Raw Tag Team titles. Another thing where I have no idea what WWE is doing right now. I want to throw this out here right now as we make our picks. There is some booking stuff they've done in the last month where I am flabbergasted. We're in Road to WrestleMania, and Vince is just shuffling the deck right and left. I have no idea why you strapped the Street Profits on Raw. We actually had a report that Vince scrapped the Raw script right before the show, which would explain a lot. It would explain why Raw was confusing, weird, and kind of lame this week, as opposed to how good it's been over the weeks before that, relatively speaking. And how inexplicable it was. It was inexplicable that the Street Profits would take those titles off of Rollins and Murphy at that time, and then have a rematch for the titles with them at Elimination Chamber.
That's where I can't get past.
What are you? What? Like, okay, strap them.
It went over gangbusters on TV to strap them on Raw. Fantastic. They need to carry them.
Why not do it at the? What was the logic?
Because there's nobody else to face them at Elimination Chamber, ready and teed up. And I think we're going to I think they're going to retain. I'm calling Street Profits to retain in this match because I think we're going to then introduce AOP.
Oh, yeah, I know you have your whole conspiracy theory about how this is going to go.
So Street Profits retain at Elimination Chamber.
Okay. I don't know. I am completely upside down on what they're doing here. Completely upside down. I have no idea why they wouldn't. You could have easily saved that match and the Street Profits win for Elimination Chamber.
Agreed.
Easily.
Agreed. I just feel like there's other things in motion.
I'm going to have to go with Street Profits as well because I can't imagine a world. I think it would be so ridiculous to strap them on Raw and then flip it off of them at Elimination Chamber. It would just be
stupid. I
would be flabbergasted. Absolutely just beside myself if they did that. Like what? Why? So yeah, Street Profits retain. I have to be with you.
Yep.
Probably the match I'm looking forward to the least. Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro 3-on-1 against Braun Strowman for the Intercontinental title, which, man, remember a couple years ago when the IC title was actually something? We're back to it being just, nah. All right, who do you have for this? I just want to get through this. I don't want to even talk about this match.
Duh.
Oh, I know. I should have figured. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Braun as well.
For those listening on the audio later, I'm pointing at my Braun Strowman figure that rides my microphone. So
yeah. I have to go with Braun as well because if you have Shinsuke, Sami, or Cesaro win, then who gets the belt? Whoever pins Braun. It makes more sense to have Braun go into WrestleMania and have like a big cluster F match to try to get the title off of him.
Yep.
Yeah. And they've done such a good job of making three outstanding world-class wrestlers look like absolute geeks over the last few weeks. I can't imagine they're going to stop now.
Nope.
So, F this match.
Yep.
Tag Team Title Elimination Chamber. Heavy Machinery, New Day, Lucha House Party, Usos, Rude and Ziggler, and Miz and Morrison all vying for Miz and Morrison's tag team titles. Who is picking up the win in this one?
I'm so torn. It's
I know you are.
It's very obvious for me to want to pick Heavy Machinery, and everything in my gut is telling me that because they did the Kofi run, right, last night, but they didn't win. Rude and Ziggler won, which means those two are not going to win. So it's going to be Heavy Machinery or New Day, and Heavy Machinery. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to take a chance because I feel like somebody might be really happy about them backstage after their performance last night.
I've got two reasons why I don't think Heavy Machinery is winning.
Okay.
One is that they going into WrestleMania, if we're going to go towards Otis and Dolph Ziggler one-on-one with Mandy as a special guest referee, which is what I think they're doing, then you can't have the titles not be defended at WrestleMania. Unless, and I'm going to counter myself here, unless it is a tag team match and it's Otis and Tucker versus Rude and Ziggler at Mania. And if Rude and Ziggler win this match, then it can be for the titles, and Otis can beat Ziggler at Mania for the tag team titles. So it's more, he gets the girl and the titles.
I just got completely distracted. You may have to say that again. Kendall with $50 in the tip jar.
What the?
Oh my God! Thank you.
Oh my God, Kendall! Thank you so much.
Woo!
Holy crap!
Oh
wow!
I didn't hear anything you just said in the last 10 seconds. I'm sorry.
I just forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, Heavy Machinery is going to win, and you were going to tell me why they're not.
Rude Ziggler's winning. I think. I don't know. I'm just gonna. I don't even. I'm flustered now.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Kendall.
Yeah, so I think we could conceivably have the Otis and Dolph Ziggler match, and that could be a big moment, but it doesn't need the titles. Whereas you could then have Miz and Morrison retain, and then face off against the Usos or New Day or whatever at WrestleMania. So I'm tempted to say Rude and Ziggler because then you could have it be for the titles, but I think it should be Otis one-on-one. So I'm not going to pick Rude Ziggler because of that. Even though I'm tempted to, I'm going to say Miz and Morrison retain.
I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Oh, no.
Otis versus Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania, Mandy Rose special guest referee.
That's literally what I've been saying all show.
I haven't been paying attention because of...
since last week. I've literally said that since like a weeks ago. Weeks I've been saying that now.
Yeah, okay. I'm on board with that now. I'm so flustered right now. Kendall has absolutely ruined the show at this point.
Yeah, I'm
wow, dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Very all right, we have a show to do, Nick. Women's #1 contender Elimination Chamber match. Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Natalya. Rumor has it that Vince has cooled on Shayna Baszler after last Monday against Kairi Sane. Does he stick to his guns, or does Nia Jax burst in the Elimination Chamber, win the whole thing, and it's Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania?
Why do you, Kendall just put $50 in the tip jar? Why do you have to do that to me?
Because
man, I went from so high to just like
to do my job.
I am just a ball of mud on the floor right now after you just said that. Really? Oh, because it could possibly happen.
May I make it worse for you? May I make it worse for you?
Fine.
Asuka has a bum wrist. She's still being advertised as being in the match, but it's going to be on the day of kind of thing. You know who's just sitting there on the sidelines waiting to hop into this match, showing off her booty on Twitter, ready to jump in this match and win the whole thing that no one sees coming. She's not like most girls, Nick. She only I don't even know how the song goes. She doesn't take what she's given. I don't know. She's going to take this match. Are you going to stick with Shayna here?
No, I was going to pick Asuka.
They just finished with Asuka.
I know, but I heard that she's still hot as fire, and I heard the cooling down on Shayna. Well, there's nobody else in this match. It's going to be Asuka or Shayna or someone that's not already in the match.
Right. I can't believe. I mean, I'll take the victory.
I'm going to pick Shayna. I'm going to take the safe route.
No, you can stick with Asuka if you want.
No, I'm going to pick Shayna. If something crazy happens, it happens, but I'm not going to bet on that right now. And Nia Jax. I'm not putting Nia Jax in this. Nia Jax.
Only because I'm gonna put a stipulation on here. If they announce Nia Jax as the replacement for Asuka, I'm picking Nia Jax.
Fine.
If they do not, as it stands right now, I'm picking Shayna.
Fair.
Okay.
I'm not changing my pick if Nia Jax shows up.
I am absolutely changing my pick to Nia Jax. She gets put in the match.
Will she make a difference in the match? Absolutely. Will she also get eliminated by someone? Absolutely. I think Shayna's winning this.
I hope Shayna wins. Let me throw that out there.
I'm a little worried about the rumors that Vince has cooled down on Shayna. I don't know how much credence I put into it.
Yeah, I really hope that's just rumors and speculation because, dear God, if he's
a little quick to judge
off
there
that quickly, Jesus Christ, old man, calm down.
Right.
All right, and that is Elimination Chamber. There'll probably be another match announced tonight or tomorrow. And we'll have to just pick it on the side, but that's what we have right now. That's the card as we know right now.
Yes. Well, that is going to do it for Elimination Chamber, guys, but we are going to head over and do our, what we like to refer to as the MOP, our moment of positivity. Mop. So, Surrey and Dangerous, what was your moment of positivity for this week of AEW, NXT, Smackdown, Elimination Chamber, whatever you want to refer to it?
So easy. Okay. So easy. Jake the Snake Roberts coming out and burning Cody to the ground.
Yep.
Come on. That the walk away, the mic toss. I've heard of mic drops. I've never seen a mic toss so disrespectfly. Oh, I got the chilies. You can, and if you're in a Busted Wide Open Facebook discussion group, which if you're not, you should be. I had to go immediately post like a whole bunch of Jake the Snake Roberts stuff, like old promos that reminded me of. He has a great one on Hulk Hogan where he's talking about how if you plant rice, you sow rice. If you plant corn, you sow corn. I sow fear. And I just love it. Jake the Snake Roberts, absolutely my moment of positivity this week. Good to see him back in the ring. Good to see him in an angle. Good to see him looking good, talking good. Awesome.
Before I give mine, not to be outdone, Mr. Abraham Castillo just dropped $30 in the tip jar. You guys,
my God, dude.
You guys, love you.
Abraham,
thank you so much,
brother.
It means the world to us that you guys do that, man.
Jesus.
Thank you so much. My moment of positivity is the potential scene in the Otis and Big E face-off.
I'm eating at Five Guys tonight just for that. I'm a splurge.
We're doing it big, boys. Five Guys. I might actually do that myself. That sounds really good.
Sounds really good, doesn't it? Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Kendall.
And Kendall.
Everybody,
thank you guys.
just all your support. It's I'm becoming a club.
There's my moment of positivity right there. What's my moment of positivity right now?
Big E and Otis, the tease that we got of two big boys slapping me.
Line Drive called it right now in the chat.
Oh, did it?
You.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Well.
Jordan fades back. Swish. No, just that little exhibition that we had with the two of them just having that slap off, that just where they would run the ropes, spring off, and just kind of charge at each other. It's like two school buses in a head-on collision.
There's just a little tease of it too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so good when we let those two guys have a match. If we ever do, please. Dude, they've done it before. The more they do it, the more fun it is. I wonder if they'll have a spot at Elimination Chamber where they let them go a little bit more. Sure, Otis is also finding and steering into his gimmick a little bit more, and he's trusting it now that the crowd is behind it. So the Otising up that he does and all of that, he's had time now to sort of perfect the timing of it and everything. It's absolutely money, and it's going to carry him a long way. But yeah, Otis and Big E slapping meat. That's my moment.
If you watch like behind the scenes over at NXT, you know that Otis has always been a ham. But as you say, he's just honing it to a fine point as to when to ham it up. You know he loves that ham.
He's now a honey baked spiral cut ham.
There you go. On the same page.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Well, guys, that was our show. Oh no, wait, we're not done just yet. We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, yeah. Ratings time. AEW wins again. They crossed the 900,000 person mark this week. 906,000 for NXT. Fifth in the demo at a 0.35. NXT, that was for AEW. And NXT got a 0.23 in the demo. They came in 20th with 718,000. AEW wiped the floor with NXT this week. Given the quality of the two shows, I can't say as I blame them. They're coming off of a pay-per-view. Interest is at a high, so that's not too surprising. I feel like NXT could build back up.
Well,
still staying competitive. Relatively
NXT
competitive.
is trying to pull out all stops with 2 cage matches this week. Tune in Wednesday at 8 p.m. Remember, trying to do that kind of stuff, and even that didn't help. And I'm going, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. They got to do something over there.
Yeah.
As we said earlier. I don't remember putting this in the news segment, but I'll just talk about it anyway. Remember that Bucks Omega Page match, the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page? That was such a good tag match at Revolution.
Yeah, he gave it 6 stars and all that.
That's what I was gonna say. Remember last week when I said people were calling that the greatest tag match of all time, and you were like, "What? Which people?" Well, Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer News, has said it's the greatest tag match of all time. He went back and watched a bunch of other tag matches, the other ones he considered the greatest of all time, and after seeing them, he went back and watched this match again and said, yes, I believe it is the best match of all time.
Wow. Jim Cornette said that.
6 stars. And well, no, that's Dave Meltzer.
Oh, okay.
But that's actually the thing I was going to say here is even Jim Cornette on his show said if there was, he thinks it's the best match the Young Bucks have ever worked. And he can't stand the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega. He said if this is how they actually work normally, he might actually start to actually kind of like them. And he hated saying it, but he actually thought it was a pretty good match. And he loves him some Hangman Page too. So even Cornette liked that match. I don't think it's the greatest match of all time. I think it was goddamn amazing though. So that's just to be clear.
I've watched it 3 times since last weekend.
It's really good. Paige is also in the hospital, not just Papa Pump, but Paige is in there as well. She had emergency surgery.
Not Hangman Page, but WWE Page.
Paige, yes, sorry. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Banshee Scream Page. She had emergency surgery to remove an ovarian cyst.
Oh, no.
which I guess they didn't say, but I guess it ruptured or typically you can have them, and it's just painful and it sucks, but it's when they rupture or when they start to, I don't know, metastasize or whatever, the growth, that it really can be a major problem. So she was probably going to be in the hospital for a little bit after that, but she is okay now. Speaking of injuries, Kenny Omega has a broken pinky after that tag match. He's not going to miss any time, but he will be working in a cast for the next few weeks. I saw an interview with Connor, formerly of The Ascension, and he talked about why they were released, what happened. And it basically came down to they were just at some point sent home and just never called out. They weren't even on the road at the end. And he kept saying, like, we were calling them saying, you got anything for us? And they never had anything for them. When asked specifically what his relationship with Vince McMahon was, he said, I don't really have one. I never really had one. And he thinks that might have been part of why it was, is that he never really connected with the old man. And if you talk to anybody who's had any kind of career in WWE, they say you have to have a relationship with Vince or you're not going to get anywhere.
Yep.
And apparently some people are good at just busting into Vince's office whenever. Braun Strowman's even done that. And he says they busted in and Vince just stopped what he was doing and took time for me and then went about his business. Connor apparently never did. He always felt like Vince was too busy to go talk to him. So I thought that was an interesting reveal as to why the Ascension never really got anywhere. Bloodsport 3, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 3. It's coming up WrestleMania weekend.
Maybe.
Right, if they don't cancel.
Every trade show for every industry around the world is being canceled right now. TwitchCon in Amsterdam, CubeCon, and all of our events that we had in Europe got canceled or postponed at least until June. Everything's getting canceled right now. I will be pleasantly surprised if all of these shows still go on and are populated WrestleMania weekend. So I'm a little scared, I'll be honest with you.
The thing that you just said right there, if they're populated.
Yeah.
And that's really the scariest thing. He's added a tournament to the show, theoretically, if the show is actually going to go on. It's going to have the Gotch Robinson tournament. And
what does that mean?
Well, it's going to be a tournament.
Oh, what's Gotch Robinson significance?
We're going to do a whole nother show on that, Nick. That they're a couple of very famous catch wrestlers. I'll leave it at that. You ever heard of the Gotch style pile driver?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, what? I know who they are. What's the what's this? Is it some kind of stakes or stipulation? Or is it just a namesake?
It's a catch wrestling tournament.
Okay, that's all I was asking. I know who they are. I just
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, just no. Okay. I like. What's the significance of naming the tournament? Is it just a tribute to them?
A tribute to them.
That's all I was asking.
The whole thing is about like trying to make it as realistic as possible and like actual catch wrestling. That's all. God.
You freak out so easily.
So he scared me. All right, on to happier things. The happiest person ever, Kylie Ray, just debuted in Impact in some TV tapings. She was there really briefly back in October, but she showed up to TV tapings. So speculation is she is now signed with Impact Wrestling, which is very interesting because she obviously everything that went down famously with her with AEW last summer. So now Kylie Ray may be over on Impact, which will fill a hole because apparently Su Yung is now a free agent. She did not re-sign with Impact. So Su Yung now out on her own, which is very interesting considering what's out there right now, including a couple things in AEW where they could use someone with a kind of dark, weird, spooky gimmick like Su Yung. I wonder if they're going to go as crazy as Impact did with her, if they do get her. But, Nick, I'm just going to throw this out there right now. Su Yung to AEW! You heard it here first. Maybe.
You have my attention.
She's a free agent. I'll leave it at that.
Wow.
Remember Hiroyo Matsumoto?
Yes.
From the last Mae Young Classic?
Yes.
The Lady Destroyer. Well, apparently in Japan, there is a rash of what they call bumpers. Men who walk around intentionally bumping into women, either to knock them off their feet or get attention or whatever, social awkwardness, whatever it is. Well, one of these bumpers tried to bump Hiroyo Matsumoto on the street. And as she said in a tweet, she is trained to knock back when that happens, right? Because of her training. And she sent this guy flying. Apparently, he knocked this guy flying off his feet. She said, "Oh, I'm very sorry, but maybe you shouldn't run into people on the street."
Right.
I just love that story.
Is it a groping thing? Is it a dastardly thing where they're trying to like grope them as they bump into them? Or
it's not. No,
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's not even they're not even groping. They're trying to get attention or something and just don't have a healthier way of doing it.
Jesus Christ, get a hobby.
Yeah, well, there you go. This guy's gonna get a hobby after bumping the wrong woman.
Shit.
That's
He's
for
gonna
sure.
be in the hospital.
Well, he almost was. So Sam Roberts, if you thought he was annoying, maybe you forgot about Peter Rosenberg. Well, if you forgot about him, you're gonna be reminded because Peter Rosenberg is back. He's going to be on the pay-per-view tomorrow. He'll be an analyst on the pre-show. So, yes, welcome back, Peter Rosenberg.
Analyst. Air quotes.
Well, welcome back.
Right.
Air quotes. As well. And finally, it was announced that at the Supercard of Honor, Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor WrestleMania weekend, it's official. PCO, former Ring of Honor champion. He lost his title to Rush last weekend. PCO will be facing Nick Aldis for the NWA championship at Supercard of Honor. There's a lot going on here right now. You've got Marty Scurll, who's facing Aldis in a couple of weeks. I forget the name of the show that he's facing him at. A Crockett Cup on April 19th.
Gotcha.
And he's going to write Aldis a check for $500,000 if Aldis beats him. Aldis has to get through PCO at Supercard of Honor first. So that's basically the way this is playing out. So Marty's sending his goons after Aldis first. So
the crossover that Marty is building between NWA and Ring of Honor is fantastic, by the way.
Delicious, isn't it?
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, Marty Scurll versus Switchblade Jay White, guys. That week. It's just...
Yeah, that's going to be delicious as well. I love the fact that actually now Aldis is the reason why PCO lost the title. He actually hit him with the NWA title, the 10 pounds of gold, which caused PCO to lose to Rush. And I believe Rush is going to have to face Flip Gordon at Supercard. Or no, Flip Gordon's facing the winner of Rush versus Mark Haskins.
That's what
which is happening at the 18th anniversary show on March 13th. Okay. It's convoluted, ladies and gentlemen. A lot happening over in Ring of Honor and NWA, and we haven't really had time to cover it because we don't have a lot of time.
Marty Scurll been busy is basically what's up.
They're busy, and there's lots of exciting stuff. Let's hope this doesn't get canceled because this could be a lot of fantastic matches if it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that is the news, Nick.
Well, thank you, Surrey and Dangerous. And thank you to everybody for hanging out with us. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a fresh new stream to do our patron mailbag episode right after this. That's just a quick changeover to get that one set up, and we'll be right back here with you. So hang tight. Refresh the page. Once we shut this one down, we'll be back doing our patron mailbag, which is always a lot of fun. To get in on some of that, head over to patreon.com/BWO. All you got to do is sign up for just that $5 tier a month. $5 a month, you can get your questions in every single week throughout that month, and access to the show notes for every single episode, plus the ability to participate in our forthcoming WrestleMania Patron Pick'ems Challenge. It's already March. You'll want to be in the patrons for that one. So go ahead and sign up if you've been holding out for whatever reason. Enjoy getting your questions in for the patron mailbag. That's patreon.com/BWO. You can also come over to Facebook. Join us in the Busted Wide Open discussion group. Just search for Busted Wide Open there on Facebook and like our page. Send us a join request to get into the group and hang out with the rest of the phenomenal ones in the group, posting fun memes, news stories, all kinds of good stuff over there. As well as you can find a link to our Discord server and community where we have live chats going on all throughout the week for all shows from Raw, AEW, NXT, Smackdown, Ring of Honor, Impact, everything, as well as dedicated chat channels for every pay-per-view that comes out, including Elimination Chamber tomorrow night. We will be doing watch parties on Facebook for the pre-show. Make sure you tune in for that so you can hang out with us and watch it together, and then we'll kick over to Discord after that. You can also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. We stream live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/BustedWideOpen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on that race to 1,000, and we're making progress, guys. We're getting there. But I think we're about 700 right now is where we're hanging out at. So keep telling your friends, tell your family, introduce them to Busted Wide Open, and thank you for doing so. You can find links to everything I talked about if you're already watching on YouTube in the description below this video. So make sure you check all of those out as well. And last but certainly not least, be sure and come hang out with us tomorrow for Elimination Chamber. It's going to be a good time. We're kicking things off around, I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern time is when the pre-show kicks off. Main show will start around 7 p.m. Eastern. If that changes for whatever reason, I will get the message out to you guys. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And shout out to Kendall and Abraham one more time. And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God,
would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.